little things and help you on if you miss something. It's just totally different environment. So when you get into residency, hopefully you'll have a good opportunity to enter into an environment that's acceptable or user friendly or resident friendly. Hello everyone.
Hello everyone.
Hello Khalid. Hello Ali. Little things and help you on if you miss something. It's So I'm gonna make you the co-host so we can control the meeting.
Sure.
And when you are ready, we can start whatever way you want. Thank you.
No problem.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lubaba, and everyone.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. Hi, Swami, Baba, Khalid, Dr. Nader Ali.
Hello, everyone.
I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, where you are, like Qatar, Sudan, and USA. Today is a sunny morning here. Like we have a very good sunny weather after a long snow winter. So hope you guys have a good day. And I'm going to start today's meeting probably. So I am going to discuss first a little bit of our agenda. So I think Marwa and Dalia is going to discuss about like how to present a poster efficiently. They will be talking about that, and then we will be talking about little bit about the soap, and if you have any of you have any updates, and then we'll be talking about SPSS software. Like Dr. Nadir gave us some homework to watch the videos he posted in the app. And after that, we'll be talking about some our AGS poster abstract submission, like works and like updates. And followed by Dr. Nadir will discuss about some other project as well. Like we will have some national meeting, like in already we are involving, we are involved, I guess, like one of the project, but we'll be talking about something else. So this is kind of today's agenda overall. So I'm going to start with, I think, Marwa, you are ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to make you co-host, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I can do that. I can do that.
yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, so I think Marwa and Dalia is going to discuss like how to present a poster efficiently. And you are going
Actually, how to design a poster, but I can say a few tips about the presentation as well. So,
okay. So you will be presenting, and probably Dalia will follow you also, right? Something like that.
can I share my screen now, or?
Can you try it, Marwa?
Yes. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So
Yeah.
can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So hello everyone. Welcome to this presentation about how to design and a poster presentation, and also we're going to talk a little bit about tips on how to present a poster. So first of all, this is how a scientific poster looks like. This is at least one of the designs that can be used for a poster presentation. So let's start by defining a scientific poster. It's simply a visual representation of your work, whether it's research project, whether it's a quality improvement project, or even a case report. So in order to design a poster, we need to know a little bit about the specifics, things needed in designing the poster regarding the size, for example. So regarding the size of the poster, most of the time this is pre-identified by the meeting, the scientific meeting, or the conference. They have preset values for the size of the poster. They tell you specifically it has to be no more than this, or such thing. And regarding the orientation of the poster, it can either be a portrait orientation like this one, or it can be a landscape, which we're going to see an example of in a few minutes. And also, we need to know about the layout of the poster. So posters generally start from top to bottom, with the top is starting with the title, and then correspondence, which is the name of the authors or co-authors, their affiliations, their contact information. Okay, and then you go down and you start from left to right. So for example, it's going to start here, then go here, here, then here, here, and down. So it's top to bottom, left to right. So as I said earlier, this is a portrait version of a poster. This is a landscape version of a poster. So you can just see the difference is the orientation. This is like more regarding the diameter, which is larger. And which layout to use in a poster is actually it's one of the things that is already decided on by the specific conference that you're gonna present your poster in. They tell you it has to be a landscape, or it has to be a portrait, and they generally give you the specification that they want. So we need to make sure that we read these instructions carefully. Moving on to the parts of the poster, the title of the poster is one of the most important things, because in a scientific meeting, there are many posters. Like the number of posters presented are going to be much more than the oral presentations in a specific meeting. So you need to have a title that draws the attention of your listeners, the people who would like to view your poster. So the people generally come scan through the titles, and if they find something that interests them, they will stop and listen to what you have to say. So try to make the title very interesting as much as you can. Also, as I said, this is followed, the title is followed by the correspondence, which I explained earlier regarding the names, affiliations, and contact information of the authors. And then we come to the body of the poster, of the main part, which depends on what is the type of the paper that you are presenting as a poster. For example, if it's research, generally it's going to start by introduction, then methods, then results and discussion. If it's a case report, it will have an introduction, case description, and then a discussion. There are other parts like acknowledgement and references are also included, but by far this is the most important parts you have to include in your poster. Another important thing is the negative space, which is like the space that doesn't contain any text in the poster. This has to be like a good proportion of your poster. Like some people say 30 to 40% of your poster need to be negative space, because if it's like overcrowded and there is like not much negative space, it's gonna look jammy and people will not be interested in reading a lot of information. So one of the things that to consider when you're designing a poster, you have to be very concise. And for example, in each part of the body of the poster, if possible, it's better to put your the text in the form of bullet points, so it's clear, it's easy to understand, and it's like it's going to be more easier for people to follow through and read the poster quickly. So another things to consider is the colors that we use when are designing a poster. Generally, some people suggest, like, for example, using a pastel colors like blue or light green, for example, but it's something that's up to you. The thing is, try to put, try not to include too many colors, because it's gonna be uncomfortable looking at if you're including too many colors, like 5 or 6 colors. That's not practical, and it's not gonna look that great. And also regarding the font of the text that you have in the poster, you need to pay attention to the first, the type of the font. There are 2 types of fonts that are used generally in scientific posters. It's either sans serif or serif font. The first one is, for example, the Arial kind of specifics. Sometimes, like, for example, when I was designing the poster for the for AMD, they specified that it has to be sans serif. So, and they're specifying, for example, Arial or other specific kind of font. So you need to, as I said, pay attention to the instructions given. The serif font, either like Times New Roman or such kind of fonts. As you can see, this like these small the edges here, there's like some dentation or something like this. So this is just like basically the difference between the two. And regarding the size, generally the I didn't find a specific rule about this, but the thing is, like, when you are writing the title, it has to be larger. The font size has to be larger than the rest of the text that you have, and also the headlines have to the font size in the headlines has to be bigger than the rest of the text. So I think this is like just a brief introduction to how to do it. And now I'm gonna try to give you briefly, like, walk you through an actual example of how can we design a poster. So let's close this one, and I'm gonna open. So first, a poster presentation is actually designed in a PowerPoint slide. It's most of the time is going to be just one slide where you put everything in here, and then you when you save it, most of the time they ask you to save it as a PDF file, and then you either upload that PDF if it's e-poster, or you're gonna print it. Actually, if it's I would say before the COVID time, it would have been like a printed version, not an e-poster. So we just need a blank page. So we either can here from the layout, we can change it into a blank page, or we can just remove the text and the specifics for the text. So here we start. So this is like a blank page. The first thing that we're gonna do is we go to the view here, and we tick on these boxes, which are the ruler, the grid lines, and the guides, which are gonna help us very much when we are designing to align any boxes that we have. And so this is the first thing, and then we go to the design here, and we here like slide, we set the slide size from this part. So we're not going to put it as a standard. We need to customize this, and this is going to depend on the specifics, as I said, in the specific meeting or conference that you're attending or you're going to present your poster in. So they specify most of the time the dimensions for you. For me, like when in AMDA, they only specified a ratio of the height to the width. So they said it has to be, for example, 17 to 9 or something like this. So, or 18 to 9 actually. So what I can do is we can just double the sizes. For example, if they have 19, I think they were 19 to 9. So 19 times 2 is 38, and 9 times 2 is 18. So just for now, we're gonna make it a little bit bigger than this one, than this one that we have here. And we actually choose what type of what the poster is gonna look like. So we can choose a landscape instead of a portrait, and we press maximize, and this is where we're gonna design the poster. So we start by inserting shapes into the poster, and generally the shapes that we can use from is either rectangle or like a rectangle with rounded edges. So for example, for the title, it's your choice, but I prefer to use a rectangle here for the title, and you just put it like this. This is just, it's not going to be a perfect poster, but just would like to highlight the most important points. So as you can see here, this is we added the rectangle for the title. So if you right click on it, you will see this, the outline, the fill, and the style. So if you press on the style, this gives you different options that you can choose from for the color and even the outline of the shape that you chose. So you can either make it like white in color, or you can make it, or you can even change the color according to what you want. And these are just few options. You can find much more options if you go to this part here, like if you press on design ideas. Okay, they're not giving me options here. Okay, format background. So if you click on this, the shape that you inserted, you can have many options. You see, we had only few options here initially when you press on the style. As you can see, only few options, but here you can have actually customize the color that you want. You can see here, like it's much more options, and you have even like you can even choose what specific shade of a color that you would like. You can like change it like to your preference, and there's no actually restriction in you have a huge number of colors that you can choose from. So sorry, so for example, I can put it here as let's say blue, this shade of blue. So this is the part for the title. If we would like to insert in the title, we need to add the logo. So we can either add it here directly into this box, or we can put it on the sides. So it's up to you. And we can press insert here for a photo of a picture. Let's see, pictures from the downloads. I think I have some MSU logo, for example. You just change the size according to the size of the area that you have here, and you can change it according to what you prefer, smaller or bigger, and you can put it on both sides or one side, or if you have, for example, the logo for the specific conference, you can put it on the other side. So it's just up to you. And for example, if you would like to insert the here, you would like to insert text regarding the name of the poster. I'm just gonna open the case report that we have here. I'm just gonna copy and paste from it just to make our life easier. And then you press here on edit text. Can you see this? Okay. And now you change the font size and the type of the font as well. So we're gonna make it like, for example, let's say 60, and we put it in the center. And you can change the color here. Since the background is blue, it's better to use a light color, for example, white. So, and then you can add the name of the authors down. Okay. And you just change the size, for example, 36, and I think this is enough. If you feel like you can change definitely the size of the rectangular that you have for the for the title, and you can make this color as the font color as white as well. And then we can insert also another we go to insert here, we insert shapes. So just like, for example, if we have a case report and would like to insert we need to consider what component that we're going to include. So for example, we have an introduction, we have a case description and discussion. So we need 3. So we choose from the shapes. As I said, it can be rectangle or honestly, I prefer this one, which is a rectangle with the rounded borders. So you can put one here, and then you can just duplicate or press copy and paste another one as well. So we just move them just to make your life easier, and maybe another one. Okay, so for example, and you can adjust the sizes accordingly. So if you would like to, for example, make this, we can change the style from here, for example, to make it white, and you can add the headline here, or you can have a separate part for the headline. And for example, we can make it in a different way. We can use either this, or we can just make this for the headline, and then we can insert a text box from this part here for the actual text. So this might look like it could be like even a better option sometimes. We can change the style, as we said. We can make them all of them the same style. Okay. So we have a text box here, and then we have the this part for the another headline, and we're gonna add more text box. We go to insert text box. As you can see, the lines here help you actually aligning your shapes. So these two are aligned. Okay, this one, if we would like to align it, we just go down a little bit, and that's why the grids and the ruler just like really help you in this part. And try to put the spaces in between here you should try to make them equal. Okay. And so, for example, we would like to put the introduction in this part, and then the case presentation in this part, and then the discussion in this part. So we're just gonna go to the case report, or we can copy and paste. As we said, you can make it into bullet points. Okay, so I'm just gonna adjust this and move this a little bit lower. Okay, and we change the size. For example, and here we can put introduction. You can type it right away. You press edit text and you can leave it in the center, or you put it like on the left side. So we're gonna just change the size first, and then we can put it in, make it bold, for example. Okay, and the same applies to the rest of the text. So you can, it's like, it's your choice how like what you would like to make it. You can keep it like this. You can, for example, change the color here. You can even change the color of the background. It's all optional for you. So if we would like to change the background color, we have this window open already. So if we press here on the sorry, okay, the format background. So this is like actually the whole slide. So if you would like to make like change the color, now it's white color. You can make the whole thing in a specific color that you choose. For example, you can put it like a specific shade of green, or in this green doesn't make sense in this design that we have, because we're using blue color. So we don't like we shouldn't be choosing like color that doesn't match. So for example, we can make it like light blue, and you have the choice to make it like solid fill, or there are other options. For example, gradient fill. You can see the difference here. It's different gradients, different shades of blue, and this is actually, you can control from these filters. You can actually choose the color of each filter. So for example, if you put this as instead of white, you change this into a dark green, dark blue, for example, this is going to change completely. So you have the choice to change the filter colors, and you can play with the filters to adjust to what you want. It's just like one of the ways you can make it. For example, if we choose it like this, we can make this, for example, dark blue instead of light blue, like this. So I would say this looks much better. So we can apply the same thing for the rest of them. Okay, here from the style. So we're gonna, if we'd like to add the, for example, here, the case presentation, we're just gonna edit the text and can change the size. Just make sure that you keep the same text size in all of the headlines, for example. And so here we use 48, so I'm gonna use 48 here as well. Okay. Okay, so case description. So we're gonna insert a text box here. And as I said, we just make sure to align them on both sides. And then if we have the case description ready, we're gonna just copy and paste. For example, from here, we go back. And then we adjust the size of the font to make it the same thing, and the same thing applies. Sorry. Description. So, and the same thing applies. If we have here the continuation of the case description, we can write continued, and then we add the text box and we add the rest of that. I think the idea is clear, and there are too many, like when you just start playing with PowerPoint and try to learn, I think one of the thing that I discovered here, this formatting part. So you get this from when you press design, from design here, format background. So you find different options. If you would like to change the design of, for example, the shape, you will find shape options. If you would like to change the format of the text, if you highlight on the text, you have text options and you can choose from it. Even the text itself, you can make it like solid, you can make it gradient. It's like you control everything, and you can make changes like to your liking. The main thing that to focus on is to make it clear, simple. For example, this is too many words. Try to make it less, so it can be looks much better, and it's gonna be it's not gonna be overcrowded. So this is like just in case you are writing a case report. In other situations where you have, for example, a research and you would like to. It's much better to include pictures of your results, for example, graphs, figures, tables. So they generally try to make it like 1/3 of your whole presentation, or whole poster. So for example, we have text over here and here, and this part, you put your results in this part. So the headlines are going to be different in that case. For example, it's going to be introduction, methods, and then results. And if you would like to insert any shapes, just you press insert. You already have it saved in your device. For example, whatever picture that you have. I don't have a specific thing to add here, but for example, we can say any kind of picture. For example, this is one of the things that we used earlier in the presentation. So we just adjust the sizes according to the sizes, the colors, and everything, and you add one here. And if you have a specific graph or bar chart or anything, just remember to identify that by adding one line here. A graph one, for example, shows this and that. You have to add a title for your graph. And I think that's it. At the end, one of the ideas that I think were useful for me is just if you would like to add references, if you have too many information already here, I think adding like a rectangle at the bottom, same as the that for the title, makes sense. Maybe you can make it the same color or a different shade of the same color, and you add the references here because you have a long space here to use. Most of the references are very long, so if you put it, for example, you have a lot of information already here. I think this saves you a lot of space if you put it here, the references. So that's it. I think if you have any questions, I can answer it. I don't have anything more to add. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marwa, for your very detailed explanation and presentation. It's really helpful. I think Ali have a question for you that can you repeat the part where you enter the text box and heading?
Okay,
Can you explain that one more time? Thank you.
no problem. So I'm gonna share my screen again. So for example, we would like to, let's say this one didn't we didn't have this one. So for example, we would like to put a heading, like a shape for the heading, and then a text box. So you go from insert here, you go insert shape, you choose a specific shape that you like, whatever you can add. We have many options. So we can put this rectangle with rounded borders here. And as I said, you can actually customize this using the, like this here, the shape options, and even the dimensions of the shape, you can change them from this size, position, and text box, whatever. So you can customize it to your liking. So when you would like to insert the text box, you go to insert and you find text box here. So you just identify the dimensions according to, for example, it's not advisable to, like, for your text box to be, for example, much bigger than the headline. So for example, if you would like to add they have to match. If you would like to add a text box until this part area, so you can change the size here to match, so that both of them can match. And then you go to edit text, and you add all the text that you have. For example, just copy and paste this. For example, we can write part of the discussion. So you paste it, and then you just highlight it, and then you change the size, and here you go. So whenever you want to write anything, you just can press here on edit text and write whatever you want, or you can just copy and paste, and that's it. I hope this answers your question.
Thank you, Marwa. It's very, explained it very well. And does anybody have any other questions for Marwa? I think Ali have a question. Yeah, Ali, please go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I would like to thank Marwa for this great presentation. It's really useful demonstration. I just have 2 questions, if you have an idea of anyone else. If you want to insert a graph and want to modify the colors or to match the presentation, I know the graphs from SPSS and so on are not well designed. So if I want to make a change to the colors, how can I do that? And also, you were asking about the logo previously to make it transparent. Have you found an answer to that? If yes, please show us how to. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ali, for your questions. Regarding the first part, I'm not quite sure, but I think if I can check here from the PowerPoint, I think that you can actually add maybe from the PowerPoint itself. I'm not sure if you can insert if they have graphs or figures. So for example, here they have chart. So I think you can use this. You already have the value, so you can use this to, and you definitely can customize it to your liking. And they have different options: column, line, pie, bar. So you can actually design your graph using PowerPoint itself. This is one way to go around that and change the colors as you would like to put them. I guess also you can use Excel. They have also good options for the graphs and tables and the charts as well. And regarding the logo, yes, I found one of the for example, okay, I'm gonna delete this. Okay, so I found actually a presentation, one of the presentations that Dr. Nader sent us in one of the emails. I found the logo there, and I just copied and pasted it to the presentation. So I think I can share with you here from one of the, just a second. So as you can see, this is just the you can move the shape. It's transparent. It's not the same as the one that
we can't see anything, Marwa.
Okay, just a second then. Maybe I have to. I'm gonna stop sharing and share again. So just a second. So this is the poster that I submitted for AMDA. So you can see it here, right? So this is the Spartan head. I think the logo for Michigan State University. I found it in one of the posters that Dr. Nader sent us as an example of poster presentations. So just like if you copy this one, okay, and okay, share again, and you can just, instead of this one, you can paste it here, so you can see it like here, right? So one way to, for example, if you would like to include that as part of the part for the title, so one way you can do it is actually, you can see here, if you, even if I, okay, cut. If I expand this here, it's gonna contain the text. So one way to do it is actually to, so if I can cut this part and paste it, okay, just cut. We insert the text box in this part. This is a way that I found around this thing. So you can insert the text box here and just put the title in the title in that part specifically. Okay, and you can adjust the size definitely. So just a second. Here we can go 60, and the author part we can put it as 44, for example. So we have it here, and we have this space here because we adjusted the text box to this size only. So we're limited. This, we have this part here where we can insert actually the logo. So I hope this is clear for you. For example, in the other part, if you have another logo, for example, for a conference, you can put it here, and you can, or you either put this on both sides. You have the option. In my case, I made a barcode, as Dr. Nader showed us, to offer the affiliation and the contact information. I made a barcode with that information, and I put the barcode in this part. So you can do it that way. It's like, it's your choice how to do it. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, it very much does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Marwa and Ali. Does anybody else have any other question for these topics? Okay, if not, then we can move into the next topics probably. I think Mulham have a question. Okay, Mulham, go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Assalamu alaikum first. And Marwa, really the presentation was impressive. I don't have any questions to mention, but it was very detailed points. And based on the last week, I've seen a record of the last week. You said it will be very amateur, but this is an expert level, actually. Thank you. And you showed us how the details of how to transition a poster from being good to really an impressive poster in terms of colors, the font size, the type, and the most important thing, you showed us the illustration, which made it much easier to do it, I think. Thank you very much, really.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mulham. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if not, then we can move to the next topics probably. So our next topic is like updates for SOAP. Like, does anyone want to discuss anything about SOAP? Because we are almost reaching to the match week. I think 15th of March it will start, and the whole week. So do you have any updates? Anyone, any interview tips for the SOAP or how to prepare SOAP or anything like that? I think by the time we already submitted our ROL, like rank order list, which was the deadline was March 3rd. And I know it's very stressful time for all of us, but there is nothing we can do about it. We just all are hoping for our goods. And I feel that we all will match. I hope and pray, but we'll see. If not, also there is always we have some plan B. We should have some plan B. So, either way, we have to be prepared to accept it. That's my ideology and that's my intention. So, if we match, of course, it's very good. If we don't match, we just have to prepare ourselves a better candidate for the next match or for the SOAP. So do you want to talk? Does anyone else, any idea or anything to talk about it? You can just go ahead and talk. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to mention 2 points here. First, I'll start with communication that I had from programs so that to continue the progress of what happened and to give an understanding of what programs would do sometimes in terms of communication. So I did send emails. We probably all send emails after the interviews, especially with, I remember 3 or 4 weeks ago when Marwa mentioned, should we do it in the first week or the second week? I mentioned that we can do it immediately, like the next week. I did it in that same week. I didn't have an expectation to have any emails from programs, but I had a couple of them, and there's variations. Here I want to mention that, so I heard different things before, but right now I'll mention what exactly based on my experience. So every program has their way of communication whenever they want to send. Most of them, they are generic. It doesn't have any difference. Their goal is just to change our ranking of their program. It's just a game at the end of the day. So, but sometimes there's variations based on how we know the program. If it is very personal involvement, for example, we work with them, then maybe they would have a very personalized letter. And I had that one from one program which I worked with. So that's only one experience. The others was very generic. One was like, thank you, we appreciate your letter. That was one. A third was also thank you, and they mentioned their NRMP code, so generic email. A fourth was a gift. They sent a gift, which was a pen. But then again, this is also a game for them. They're playing with us. So they want to make sure I rank them high. So those are the examples I had. And yeah, hopefully everyone will have a good response next week onwards. Now for the SOAP, I did have some different points I want to mention. So next week is very crucial. And actually this week is very crucial. We need to start preparing from this week. The most important thing we can do is the personal statement, refine it, make sure if there's any mistakes, grammar, or there's something new you can add there. Please add it. The new updates, for example, our things that we did in the last couple of weeks or last couple of months, please update it if we can do that, because that's one of the things which will be impressive. And if there's a new letter recommendation, please update it as well. Those are 2 things we can do at the moment. And yeah, then the other things which is probably are either eligible for it. And even if you are not involved in the match, make sure you see the process, how it is done to prepare yourself for the next match, how the stress levels, and how to prepare. The most important factor here is how to make sure you are having a clear mind. You need to be very focused here. This is a time to be focused and having your A game. No mistake should be done at all. And yeah, next week it will be on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We will have the email. Hopefully it's a good email. Regardless, if it is not, then we need to be ready for the next phase. Then, yeah, make sure to see the schedule of the table. I haven't seen it yet today, but I'm planning today to see it. Make sure you know it. What is round 1, what is round 2, and what is round 3, and what is your plan? Now, there's 2 plans based on what I've read before. The American grads, they prefer to apply in different rounds. For example, the first round, we would have 15 to 25 programs, and the total number of programs we would be allowed is 45. They would usually apply with 15 to 25 in the first round. Then the second round, some others, and then the third, the remaining. Now, we don't have that ability in terms similar to the American grads because our chances are higher when we apply with the whole number. That's why the majority of IMGs apply from the start with 45 programs. So that's, you need to, from right now, you know what you want to do. This should be very straightforward. What programs you want to apply to? Is it internal medicine, family medicine, or a mix? Make sure you know what you want at the moment, or PEDS, for example, if you want. So yeah, prepare accordingly, and also make sure it goes with your CV and the programs you already expect them to be in the match, which is the new programs. Know what are they. The time is very short to apply. So this is important factors to look at. And yeah, good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Mulham, for your input. Yeah, I also would want to add something that this week is the time to update your CV for sure. And regardless of the match, I think we have to prepare for interview as well. Because if we match, yeah, the game is over. But if we don't match, we have to be prepared for the interview. So basically, we don't have any time to waste. As soon as we'll know that we don't match, in case, I'm just saying, I mean, if you match, the game is over. But if it is not, then we have to prepare ourselves for applications, personal statement again, updated CV, and interview as well. Because interview is very it's not like the regular match, because we have lots of time, you can schedule, and you can prepare yourself. We do not have that time for this soap time. So just make sure that you are 100% prepared for at least these 3 things. And as Mulham mentioned, that is absolutely 100% true, that we don't have that choice that we'll go from first round to second round to third round. So I feel like as an IMG, we have to accept the truth and reality. So it's better to apply in the first round, all 45 programs or whatever. So, I mean, that's for the American grades. They can apply because they play the game different way. And of course, we have to admit that they have connection with the medical school. So it depends on if they're medical school, any of the program, they being unmatched. So, they will match there. So their calculation is different. So I would suggest that's my experience, that we should be prepared and we should apply for all 45 programs in the first round. So, and also please everyone update your CV with the latest abstract we have submitted and is going to be presented, because all of them are literally now accepted. So you can definitely add your, add this abstract in the CV, and just you can write it down that I'll be presenting in such and such date in meeting or conference, let's say GS conference or AMDA conference, something like that. This is second thing. And I think that's it. I wish all of you a good luck. Hopefully we'll all come back with a smiley face. If not, just take it easy. This is our struggle. We just have to go through it until it is over. It's for someone it is today, for some other people it is tomorrow. But I hope that we all will match. Anybody have any other, do you want to talk? Anybody have any other things to talk about it? Please raise your hand and you can go ahead and talk about it.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I didn't find the hand. Good morning. Thank you, Marwa, for the presentation. Thank you, Mulham and Somi for the tips, really very valuable. I just want to add one point to the tips. Just prepare yourself to be ready all the time. You might get a phone call. This is what happened with me last week. Unexpectedly, I had a phone call early morning. I was hesitant to reply because I didn't recognize the number, but thankfully I did. And it was a program director. He was like talking to me and was, I didn't believe it was an interview until I followed up with an email, and he was like, this is technically what an interview. So just be prepared and try to take the conversation lightly and know how to talk about yourself, because this is like a first impression, and the phone interview will be a good impression if you are able to talk about yourself. So I think during SOAP time, we need to be prepared. I can't agree more with what Somi said. We have to practice next week our CV and interview preparation really seriously, because we may get like a few minutes of call that you need to really talk about what highlights you and what makes you a good candidate for their programs. And good luck for everyone. So just be prepared. Hopefully we don't need that, but just in case we didn't make it this round, we will make it through. So inshallah. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Lubaba, for your tips. And yeah, that's really good. Anybody else?
So first, thank you, Mulham and Sumi and Lubaba for the tips, and I'm very happy, and congratulations, Lubaba. I wish you and everyone here all the best. And just one thing to mention, as you said, just from your experience, just in this time, I think it's better to answer any phone call, especially during the SOAP time. Just make sure that your phone is charged and you're ready to answer. And hopefully we don't get to go through such process, but just in case, we definitely need to be prepared. I agree with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Marwa. It's yeah, I think we have to be prepared, and whoever, I think we are working and all that, we have to be prepared, and whoever is in Sudan or Qatar, just for the time adjustment also, please make sure that your phone is charged and turned on, because you guys have some probably time like when problem, but still make sure that you are available for 24/7 for that week at least, because anything can happen. I hope that we all will match, but in case if not, just we have to go through it, and we'll learn through this process as well how to deal with this. So either way it is, just take it easy. That's all my suggestion. And anyone else, or we can move to the next topics. Okay, so our next topic is our for abstract, which was recently accepted to AGS. I think Marwa and Lubaba already presented their, recorded their abstract and case report to AMDA. So now we are preparing for AGS. So last week, Dr. Nadir mentioned that I think each abstract, so 4 abstract is 2 COVID, one is COVID and cardiovascular, another one is COVID and other risk factor, and the case report, and I think the falls. So these 4 abstract was accepted to AGS. And I think Dr. Nadir suggested us that 2 of the fellows is going to present each abstract, and other 2 fellows will be ready for question and answer that session for the real conference. And so by that way, all of us will be involved for some or the other task. So I am just asking that all the lead from the project leader from the each abstract, do you guys have any updates? So I'm going to share my project and my updates about the COVID and cardiovascular. So COVID and cardiovascular, for the presentation, me and Omnia will be presenting. And for Khalid Osman and Ali, his name is Well, I think these four, and I mean, we will be there also. These four of us will be in the question and answer session, and all of us will be preparing the poster. So I splitted the work for all of us, and I sent all of the like my all fellows, like who will be doing what, the roles and responsibilities, and I email them like what is the deadline. So I asked them to send me back all these things by March 20th, and because we have to send them back our recording by, I guess, like April 5th. So next, if I get ready the poster by March 20th, next another 1 week I'll be like, we all will be preparing, editing the poster and recording, and by April 1st week we will be submitting. So that's how I'm organizing my project. So I am asking all the project lead, and I also sent the like all the list of the fellows, like who will be doing what, to Dr. Nadir. So from the other COVID project, like I'm going to ask Mulham probably. Do you have any update for your project, Mulham?
Okay, for the projects, frankly, I just seen the video today, the recording, so I understood what is the division, two presenting and two will be assisting, and based if there is an emergency that happens, they can be taking the role. So yeah, I think that's a good plan, and today I'll be sending them. I have names, but it's better to send them directly and get their acceptance first and then mention it. So hopefully next week, I'll be mentioning the two names, yeah, next week for those two. As well as the plan or the agenda for the project is today I'm going to read as well to discuss with Khalid and the ones who will be involved so that we can plan it within like 2 weeks from now. We can prepare some presentation, present it here in the group. The date I'm planning, which is 20th of March, because the deadline is the 7th of April. I'm planning to finish it early so that we have some time to improve it, at least to reach something really good, hopefully before that deadline. Yeah, so that's the plan, and yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mulham. If you need any help or like you need any information, just contact with the WhatsApp, or you can contact me. And the next project is fall, that abstract. I think Ali is the project lead, if I'm not wrong. Do you have any updates?
Yes, actually, I am the project.
Oh, sorry.
Leader. Yeah, it's okay. So we have determined the presenters, three, Ali, Azza, and I. And I have started with writing the manuscript. I'm now in the introduction part. I'm also viewing many papers on falls. We have not yet set a date or distributed tasks, but mainly the idea is all three of us will design their own version, and then we will review, and we will also I will also upload the manuscript so everyone can edit, not just our group, but you are also very welcome. We appreciate your help, and that is all for now.
Thank you, Khalid. I mean, it sounds like a good plan. And yeah, just to make sure that, the deadline is, as Mulham mentioned also, I think it's April 5th or 7th, something like that. So
yes, exactly.
So we'll try to, I think all abstract presenter, and we have to make sure that we have at least the first draft by March 20th, and then we can work from there. As we are approaching to match week, so we all are busy, we'll be busy with that, So at the same time, we have to finish this work done. So that's why we have enough time. So in between, we can split our works and our time, basically, like when can we work. Okay, so the next one is case report. So case report was presented by Marwa, at EMDA. So Marwa cannot do it, unfortunately. Sorry, Marwa. So anyone else? Marwa, did you decide who is going to present for AGS?
Well, first of all, just would like to say one thing. By presenting, you mean recording the video?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be Ali. I don't know. Like I thought if it's like it's gonna be two people. I was thinking about the live presentation, actually the question and answer. So I was thinking to involve someone who is not like someone else. So I contacted Ali and he is interested to present. So like I think I initially I was under the impression that when you say presenting is going to be actually present in the live session. So that's why like I couldn't think of like, for example, you, Lubaba, who were involved in the case support are actually, and Khalid actually as presenters. So I think there was some issue here. So I'm gonna be contacting everyone, and by next week, hopefully I will give Dr. Nader the names of the presenters. So it's
Okay.
gonna be Ali plus someone else after we communicate with them.
So thank you, Marhas, to clarify that. So what I mean is like a poster presentation means the recording one. So it's recorded presentation basically. And when the conference will be conducted on May 17th, I think. So in the question and answer session, we have to be present there virtually because the meetings will be conducted virtually, right? So in that time window period, we have to be presented there. So the primary person will be, for my project, the other two person and will be there, but the presenter who will be recorded, I think we have to be there for who will be recorded the presentation, but other two person also will be involving. That's how we split the 4 people. And one more thing I wanted to tell you that I heard from Khalid that the falls project, probably Ali is also involved, right? Because Khalid mentioned Ali, Aja, and Khalid. Those 3 people will be involved. So I think it's better to pick someone else other than we all have to.
I had no clue. So yeah. We'll work on that to communicate again, and yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So like some other, like I cannot pick Mulham, I cannot pick you, something like that. I cannot pick Lubaba because so we have to split, like we have to figure out like who is not involved for something. So like just pick something that way. Yeah, go ahead, Ali.
I just want to clarify one thing. Actually, I'm interested to present the case report, and only I told Khalid that if no one else is interested to present the falls, I will be joining him. But my main interest is to present the case report. Okay, so for all the fellows, feel free if you want to participate in the presentation with Khalid. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. I think, whoever wants to join Khalid, please contact him for his abstract. That would be great. So by that way, we all will be involved, some of the other project. So I think we have some updates and we'll be working on it, and then we'll see, like probably in next week, we'll have more updates and some, like advancement for these projects and abstract. We'll see. Anything else, Dr. Nadir? You have any question regarding this?
No, I just want to make sure everyone have the opportunity to participate in some way or form. So hopefully everyone will have an opportunity to do something as far as either presenting actual like recording or attending the 2 hours or whatever time they allow you for questions and answers. If for any reason some of the fellows did not participate in either these 2 parts, at least they can participate in preparing the slides and working as Marwa showed us how to prepare the slides, the poster slide in PowerPoint, maybe so that they can learn and involve and help with that. In that's what I want to add. The other point I want to add, in case someone is left over, let's say, didn't have the chance to do any of these tasks or participate in a team or a project, then we can ask them to help with coming or future abstract submission or presentation. So we will have some meetings. Actually, there are 2 meetings so far. One for the students and residents here in Lansing at MSU. So we can participate in that. I think that also will be in May. We don't have the deadline for submission yet, so we still have some time. And the other one is ASG, the American Society for Gerontology. They have a very short announcement, or I just knew about that yesterday. The deadline is on the 11th. So if we want to come up with some abstract fast and submit that to them and then work on preparing the slides later on and the presentation later on, that's also an option for some people who did not have the chance to participate in the 4 or 2 abstracts that we submitted to ANDA or AGS. But also it's an opportunity for anyone who has time or interested in doing more of the work for research. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir. Does anyone have any questions? Like anyone wants to involve any other research project or submit abstract to the American Society of Gerontology or anything? Please raise your hand, or you can just go ahead and talk about it. Okay, if not, then we can move into the next project. I mean, next topics probably. So our next topics is SPSS. So do you have any other, like Dr. Nadir asked us, give us some homework for our last meeting. We are supposed to hear the videos which was in the app. So I listened to that, which is, it gives all of us a very basics of how to use SPSS and how to use data analysis. So actually I did it a little bit, for my other research from my work actually, but not, I'm not expert or, it's very basics analysis I had done, but I think this video is really helpful. I wish that I could watch this one before starting that, because I was very like, I feel I learned from it, and now I know, like, how to do it like more organizedly, and what are the research, I mean, before, like by watching any data, I can ask myself like what I'm going to do. So that is really helpful. Thank you, Dr. Nadir. Those videos are very helpful. Does anyone have a chance to watch that?
Yes, I was able to watch most of the videos. As you said, they give you really good basic information about SPSS. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to practice since my SPSS free subscription finished, but it was useful overall. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marwa. Yeah, I think same thing with me. I did not subscribe yet because the match week is coming. So I know that I'll not be able to practice much because of this match tension and all that, So my plan is after this abstract and like probably April 1st week, I'll be, sign up for that. Or if I may have also from the student, as I'm a student, probably I may have some free access also, but I want to, I want to like practice it. I think simultaneously, if someone can hear that video and practice simultaneously, so that will improve our knowledge and improve like how to use it. And you will at least, I think this is like a very good chance that at least basic data you can, as a physician, as a resident, you will be all set, like you'll be able to like interpret the data for the clinical data. I don't think like we need to know much more than that. Whatever like we have, whatever the videos Dr. Nadir posted, if you learn at least that much of knowledge and know how to do implement in the SPSS, that is more than enough. I mean, if you know that much of knowledge, it is more than enough as a physician. That's what I felt. I mean, I wish that I watched those videos previously, so it would have been help me more. But yeah, at least like I'll try to improve my knowledge and my practice in SPSS. I would suggest, Dr. Nadir, if you find out any other more advanced a little bit video, you can you can add there. If I see like I can move forward to next phase or something like that. I think this is very helpful. Anybody else? All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so actually unfortunately it did not work for me. So I'm gonna reach to one of you to see what was the problem with I tried with the phone and with the laptop itself, but it didn't work. I'm not sure what I'm missing. But that's really good to hear about that. And thank you so much, Dr. Nadir. You are making our life easier, kind of spoon feeding us. Thank you.
Sorry, Lubaba, what exactly didn't work? Is it the app? Is it the videos or the SPSS?
The video or the SPSS, yeah.
It's a YouTube video, kind of. Do you have the link or?
Yes. So I was able to go to the way you posted it in the app. Mm-hmm. And when I click on it, it will take me like as if I have to download something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
sure.
Both the phone and the laptop.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I'll try to fix it and update that.
Most likely, maybe my device, because both of them, they were able to view it. I'm not sure. So, thank you.
So Lubaba, you can do one thing, I guess. You just click the link, and when it will go to the YouTube, or I'm not sure if you are not able to even reach to the YouTube, then you can copy the link and open another window and then paste that link. So sometimes it works that way. I did that one time. I had to do that, and another thing, there is a topics, right? Like in the video, SPSS, these, that. So you can in the Google, or you can go to YouTube on your own, and you can type that topics or the subject, it will pop up that video. So you can try that way as well.
I did not get the link to go to the YouTube, but I'll try the other way.
Yeah.
Searching the topic. Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the video was not working for me that way. I don't know why. So I did that. I saw the topics, like what they are talking about, and I went to YouTube and I typed it, and then it popped up. Something like that I did.
Okay, thank you for the tip.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else? I think Dr. Nadir is start. Okay.
So for Lubaba, if you go to the screen where you have the videos, let's say video number 6, you click on it. If it's not working itself, the link is above there. It's supposed to take you to the YouTube website. And if you want, also you can search by the, if you just copy paste the title here, you will have, I think it's a series. So you can go, you will find number 1, number 2, number 3 somewhere here. I think it's on this side. This is another way. to find these videos. It's a YouTube video, so it shouldn't be a problem. But in case you have a problem, let me know. I fixed the app, so if the video is not working, click on the link above the video section. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wants to talk about SPSS or any updates for that? Okay. Okay, Dr. Nadi, do you want to talk anything?
So I know these days most of you will be busy with coming matching, so maybe we can postpone the SPSS for this week, and after the match, then we can review the videos again. Hopefully at that time you'll match and you'll have time to separate and free time to work on the SPSS kind of. We can subscribe for the free version, and then you can apply whatever video you see, then you can apply that at the same time. It will make sense to you, and it will help you down the road, hopefully, if you are interested in doing research in the future. Otherwise, that's fine also. If you are not interested, that's an additional skill that you may choose to continue or not. Okay, the other part, if we are done with SPSS, we can move on. The question or the feedback about the GRS presentation that you did last time. So all of you, I reviewed the presentation done by every and each one of you, and I think all did great as far as presenting, and some of you did modify the slides, some use the same slides, some make some changes as far as the design of the colors or font, or added some material, added some new references, updated, which is all of it. I think it's great, and the exercise was, the idea is you have the slide already made for you, and I want you to practice just how to present, in a sense that you can analyze yourself. Sometimes you may use a certain word repeatedly, or a phrase, or just like what I'm saying now. So the coach online will help you identify these things, and then you can minimize them, or you can fix or remove them while you are presenting. So in general, I think you did great. The voice were okay, the speed or the flow, great. There are always rooms for each one of us for improvement. So I'm gonna highlight some areas where you can improve, and some. So in the introduction part, all of you did good, and this is the way we do it in a formal presentation, like when you are in front of residents or attending, you will say, today we cannot talk about this. If you are in a new environment, they ask you to present, then you will introduce yourself. In a form like online, you will introduce yourself the way you did, and everyone do. The other way, it's like commercial way, where you will introduce the topic and the agenda and what to go home, and then you come back to introduce yourself and what you can talk. Let's say you can ask. It's like an TEDx talk. When they present with a question, or with a number, or with a big story, kind of. Let's say, for example, I'll say, every one of us is ready for the match. So to take home, you need to prepare for the match, and hopefully you will get into a good spot, and then you will start your residency program. So today I'm going to talk to you about the objective. Then you list the objective, the 3 points that to take home. Let's say I want you to organize yourself, make the phone ready, battery, whatever, and review your resume, because they cannot ask you about yourself, something like that. So these are the major bullet point for the topic that I'm going to present to you. And then you can say, I'm Dr. Abdurrahman, I did my residency, whatever background you want to tell. So this is a different way of presenting than the usual way you present the first introduction. If you look at TED Talk, some of them go the old way or the conventional way of saying things, and then some will tell you how to use numbers or age or years or something to break the ice. This will help not only the anxiety, because public talking, sometimes you will have the anxiety of, I don't want to do it. What happened to the listener or the audience? What the reaction? So this kind of break the point. So this is one skill about the introduction that maybe in the future we can work on that. But this, when you are doing the slides, as Marwa mentioned in her presentation, when selecting the colors, think about a contrast where if the background is dark, your font on your text is supposed to be a lighter. Like if it's black or if it's dark blue, then the font will be white or maybe yellow, some colors that it's easy to read, because put in mind some of the attending or some of the physicians that you are presenting to in the future will be an old lady or men, and they have glasses and they want to focus on what you are saying in the slides. So they want to be able to read. So if you make the difference in the background and the text, that will be also easier for them to follow. You sometimes may use examples in your presentation, and instead of saying, for example, each time, or like each time when you present something, use different words. Let's say for the first example, you say, for example, we find this is this. Then you go to the next slide, and third slide, you have example number 2. You don't repeat yourself, for example. This time you will say, for instance, in this group, we will have this. And then the third example, you will use something different. So try to not repeat the same phrase or same sentence more than once if you can. Sometimes you run out of the technical terms, but if you can, that will also help. Then the transition, when you are going from one topic to another or from one slide to another, you can use certain sentences for transition from one topic to another. For example, this slide will tell us about this. As you're finishing the slide, then you say, which bring us to, or sometimes people, you hear them say, switching gears. Now we will talk about, and then you talk about the other part. Or if you have a certain point you want to emphasize, then you can use the numbers. Like in this slide, we have 3 topics, or we have 3 points. So number 1 is so and so and so, number 2 and so and so, so that people will take it like this is a focusing area, and what's the point that I will take from this slide. And this put us also on the skill of using your hands and gestures to mention your to focus or highlight certain part of your topics. Some will use image or photos or pictures or graphs, tables to condense the idea into a small picture. So you can try that also. If you want to put the sentence in bullet, try to limit the bullet numbers. Let's say the recommendation of 5 bullets in one slide, and the sentence shouldn't be long, like 5 words, or sometimes people say 7 by 7, so 7 bullets with 7 words in the sentence each kind of slide. So the thing that I don't want you to do is, if you have a slide with text in it, don't read the whole text from A until the end of the text Z, because the audience, they may have among them a fast reader. When you are slower than them, it will get them a little bit not comfortable or maybe bored. So instead of reading the slides, the text, try to use different words. Try to manipulate what in the slides. And when you put the point in the slides, try to minimize what's written and maximize what's spoken, what you're explaining. To do that, sometimes in the PowerPoint, you have a presenter section. So why don't I just demonstrate some of the points that I shared with you? So, for instance, I'm going to talk about this healthy aging. The first slide is okay. The second slide, when you go there, okay. It has bullets about the objective. So it's 3 bullets, which is good. The sentences are kind of long, right? So for me to highlight the sentences, I can use coloring to make action words or action verb important. For instance, I'm gonna highlight the word review, and the second point, understand, and the third point, discuss. When I want to change the color is supposed to be different and readable. So red is not the greatest because I cannot view it well with the background blue. So I found yellow might be a little bit better. So, and then I can put it in bold. And then I go to the next one, I go to the next one. So this presentation wise is better for the audience to see and for you to focus. So today our objective is to, number 1, review, number 2, understand, number 3, discuss, something like that. The other point is when Marwa mentioned this on the spaces, if you look at these sentences, they are condensed, they are all in one place, right? Below them is a big space there. For me, if I want, I can just highlight all the 3 sentences and make a difference between the lines. So if I highlight, I change the lines. Here you can do that. It's called line spacing. You can make a 1.5 line or 2 difference of line. For now, just leave it like this. And so it's much better as far as you have occupied the space and it's easier for the eye to follow. something like that. The other point is when you present, don't use the mouse when you are reading. Let's say today I'm going to talk about the objective 1, review, 3, 2, understand, discuss. If you want to do it like today, I'm going to review the component and complexity of healthy aging, people will follow your cursor or your mouse, and maybe they will not focus on what's written or what's spoken because they just want to follow the cursor or the mouse. So instead of that, just leave the mouse alone. Try to present, review the component and complexity of healthy life because of whatever, and then you can explain more. Down here, you will have the presenter text where you can edit more or add more to your sentence. For instance, here, there are 3 bullets, improve, trend, and increasing. And this is the graph which indicate some numbers. But here, down there, is the sentence where you want to elaborate on the first point. The first point or bullet has 4 or 5 words. But here in the presenter, you can make it a long sentence if you follow me. Next one will be a video. You can talk about the video, and then the graph. If you have the graph, it's a copy-paste graph from an article or from some resource. You might have it as a picture, similar to what's here, and it's just dull, like black and white, gray kind of graph. You can change that into your own graph. So you can insert a graph the way Marwa mentioned in the slides. So you go to graph and you can slide. You can add the graph. And then you can just copy the numbers into the new graph and make it similar to this graph. But you can manipulate the colors if you want to make it kind of fancy colors. Yellow, green, or blue, or whatever other colors. That's another way of doing the slides to make it look beautiful. The last point, when you are presenting and talking about numbers. So if you have the graph here, you can edit the numbers here. Let's say here 9. It will make the, if this is color is, I can change the color instead of, I can make it yellow, for instance, or something like that. So you see, much better yellow compared to the background, the blue, instead of just the graph here, black and white. So if you have a number where it's, I'm gonna put the number here, 9.23, for example, percent. In your presentation, you don't have to go all the different details about the number. In this example, I'm gonna say 9.25%. The listeners are not interested in the decimal. They are just want to know roughly or approximately or about. So I will say close to 10% of this population will have this. Or you can put it in a different way. You will say 1 in 10 of the subjects almost have this and this. So for example, when you are mentioning a population of the study or population of the country, or you don't have to say 2,002,000 235 something to the, you can just say close to 2 million. I think these are the do and do not do when you are presenting. I found it useful when you do that when you are presenting to a group or scientist. Different people might look at it differently. It's like what the color in the slides, which one is better. Background is blue or green or dark or white. It's up to you guys to select. Does it make sense? Thank you so much, actually, for doing the slides, the presentation. And I hope that will help you in the future. And I hope that also the content of the slides, the GRS slides, the topic itself, hopefully will help you understand something about geriatric medicine and what you can face in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir, for your great explanation. And that's really helpful feedback for all of us, I guess, for presentation and preparing the cell and the poster. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think last year when I presented for ASCO, yeah, like I used a word like such as for a long, like couple times. So when I was reading my feedback, so in general, they gave a feedback for all of the researcher. So yeah, one of the feedback was like a repetitive words. So as it was virtual, because it was just started in April after the lockdown started. So I was like very new at that time how to present virtually and record it, because at that time it was very new also. So I think I was a little nervous as well. But yeah, that's a feedback I get from them, that instead of using such as, like for every time you should use some different words, so it will be not like monotonous for the audience, and it will show that you have much vocabulary for the other words too. So which is, I appreciate that. It's great. Thank you. Anyone else have any other questions regarding this thing? Otherwise, we'll move to our next topics, which is like the critical appraisal, and it will be presented by Khalid Osman and Khalid Adam, I guess. And I think Khalid already sent the paper, the article, to all of us in the WhatsApp group. Khalid, you are ready?
Yes, Sumi, I'm ready. Thank
Okay.
you.
So you are going to start that, both of you?
Yes, I'm sorry, I've lost electricity. I need to restart the laptop so I can share the screen and open the questions form. So I will log out and log in again through the laptop.
Sure.
So you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Khalid, if you can scroll up to look at the title.
To the abstract itself or the whole paper?
No, what I meant, we can start from the title and go down.
Yes, I can share my screen now. I will walk you through the introduction of the format that we are going to use, and then Khalid Adam will share his screen to walk you through the paper. So can you all see this?
Yes.
Great. So this is the tool that we are going to use, which we used in the previous meeting, which is the Critical Appraisal Skills Program. But since this is a case control study, we are using the checklist for the case control study. The CASP checklist has 11 questions to help you make sense of a case control study. How to use this appraisal tools? There are 3 broad issues need to be considered when appraising a case control study. So there are 3 sections, sections A, B, and C. Section A deals with the results being valid or not. Section B, what are the results exactly? And section C, if the results are helpful or not. So as you can see in the screen, the 11 questions on the following page are designed to help you think about these issues systematically. The first 3 questions are screening questions and can be answered quickly. So it's really important. The first 2 questions are the most important. If the answer to the first 2 questions are yes, and then we can move on to other sections. So it is worth proceeding with the remaining questions if the answers are yes. There is some degree of overlap between the questions. You are asked to record yes, no, or can't tell. So it's basically the same thing we did last week, but this is for case control studies. These checklists were designed to be used as educational pedagogic tools as part of a workshop setting. Therefore, we do not suggest a scoring system. The core CASP checklist, randomized control trial and systematic review, are based on JAMA users' guides to the medical literature 1994 and piloted with healthcare practitioners. For each new checklist, a group of experts were assembled to develop and pilot the checklist and the workshop format with which it would be used. Over the years, overall adjustments have been made to the format, but a recent survey of checklist users reiterated that the basic format continues to be useful and appropriate. This is the questions. As you can see, this is section A. It has 2 questions, and then we will move on to section B and C. I think we can walk you through the questions now while Khalid shares his screen and shows us the page.
Okay. Khalid, if you stop sharing your screen, I will be able to share
Okay.
mine, and then you can read the questions and we can answer them together from the paper.
I think it's also helpful if we give you a minute or less, so you can all open the checklist. I'll send a link, so you can all know where we're at and participate. This is the checklist. You can open it. And this is the paper. Have you been able to open the checklist and the paper?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Since
sorry,
we are going
you
to
send it as an email or
no, I've sent it
WhatsApp?
in the Zoom chat here.
Okay,
Did you receive
perfect.
it?
All right.
Okay, check it.
In the
So we
chat
can,
box. Yeah.
yes, in the chat box, so we can follow through because it's hard to follow through these two while we are talking also. Okay, we can begin now with the first question, and Khalid will try his best to answer. I will also help. If anyone has any suggestion, feel free to speak at any time. The first question in section A is, did the study address a clearly focused issue? So the question here is the study focused or not? There are 3 hints to tell if a study is focused or not, as written in orange, right to the checkbox. If the population studied is focused, whether the study tried to detect a beneficial or harmful effect, and the risk factors studied. So, Khalid, Adam, what do you think?
I think yes. I think the study clearly address their focused issue to determine the biomarkers in patients with COPD alone, COPD and lung cancer, and also these markers in patients have only lung cancer.
Okay, so the answer here is going to be yes. The study is clearly focused because the population studies is focused, and also because we are studying a specific risk factor. So the second important question is number 2, did the authors use an appropriate method to answer their question? We have 2 hints here to consider. The first one is a case control study, an appropriate way of answering the question. And the second is, did it address the study question itself?
Yeah, the study, yes, it is appropriate. The case control is appropriate for answering these questions. And they have cases and controls, and they check these biomarkers. That is the aim of their study. But yeah, for
yes,
other
I
people,
agree.
if they want to comment or to go through the paper, also welcome to participate.
Yes, since we are here studying the association between inflammatory markers and lung cancer, to determine if people with COPD will develop lung cancer more likely than the general population. So here we have exposure and disease, and we are studying the association between exposure and disease. I also believe this is an appropriate way to study this question through case control. So the answer is yes here also. As we said earlier, these are important questions. If the answer is yes to both these questions, then we can move to others.
I would like to add one thing. I think also in this part, not only if it's a appropriate method, I agree with that definitely. But I think also is if the control group actually is, I would say, suitable in this situation. So yes, the answer is yes as well, because they had people who had COPD and lung cancer as their main group that they're studying, and the control groups were people who had COPD but no lung cancer, and people who had lung cancer but no COPD. So I think they covered basically all the possibilities here.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Marwa. It's the appropriate design to answer the study question. Okay, so now we know that it is worth continuing, and we move to question 3, which is, where the case is recruited in an acceptable way. So Khalid, can you tell us about the recruitment in this study, how they did it, and if it's appropriate or not?
Yes, the recruitment is appropriate as they have strict inclusion and exclusion criteria for their patients, and both the cases and the control. And they use even they determine specifically, if you look at the method, inclusion criteria for the COPD, they use gold, and for lung cancer they use radiological and pathological confirmations. And they also excluded people have acute symptoms like congestive heart failure or infections or any other tumors.
Okay, that is great. So I'll walk you through the hints that helps answer the question, which is if the cases were recruited in an acceptable or appropriate way. As you can see written in orange, are the cases defined precisely? As Khalid said, yes, they are defined precisely. For cancer patients, they did a radiological assessment or investigated, they ordered a specific test, a radiological test, to determine if a patient has a tumor or not, and then they confirmed it through pathology. So this is clearly defined. As for COPD, they use gold, as you said, which is using spirometry basically, and an FEV1 with FVC ratio less than 0.7 were considered having COPD. So the definition here was precise. People with lung cancer, we knew they had cancer, and patients with COPD, we know precisely that they had COPD. If were the cases representative of a defined population geographically and temporally, they were all recruited in the same hospital, which covers the same geographical settings. So it will be a proper match between the two groups, being the cases and the control groups. Was there an established reliable system for selecting all the cases? Yes, as you mentioned, there was exclusion and inclusion criteria. They were precise. So yes, there was a system. Here we have a question. I think when we went through it earlier, Khalid and I, we wasn't sure what they mean by it exactly. If you can see it, are they incident or prevalent? Meaning the selection, the recruitment of cases or controls. So if anyone might help us on this.
I think it's prevalent here because it's not a cohort, so the incidence would be in a cohort study where you can actually look at new cases. But in case control studies, they already, you have already those who were already diagnosed. So this is going to be, from my understanding, is going to be a prevalence in this case.
Okay, so they are prevalent. Thank you, Marwa, for clarifying this. Is there something special about the cases? Do you think there's something special about the cases, Arif?
I don't have anything specific that I want to comment about if there something special about the cases.
I also am not sure exactly
criteria for
how to answer this, because I don't know what is considered special in this paper. So it's a bit vague for me. I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly they mean here. If anyone also has an idea, might drop in and tell us.
So I think these are hints. So you can apply whatever usable or whatever you can find beneficial for you from the orange list, the tips. some of them might apply, some might not apply. So the last one, for instance, the calculation of the sample size. In some papers, they mention that and they clarify how they did that. And in some papers, they just don't mention that. So it's the list on in the orange are only tips for you. You don't have to go over all of them and apply all of them to each journal article.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nader. I think, yes, it is true because they are not applicable in this case. Do you think that the time frame of the study is relevant to disease and exposure highlight for this study? Since they were recruited in the same time period from 2014 to 2018, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Relevant.
it is relevant. So to study association. I think we can apply this hint here if there was a sufficient number of cases selected or not.
I think yes. I think it's more descriptive study. This is my understanding. So I think
yes.
Yes.
Since we've got a statistically significant results, I think the cases were sufficient, and I think having a smaller p-value reflects having a good sample size or a sample size that is sufficient, if I'm correct. So overall, we've been through the hints for the third questions. The third question was, were the cases recruited in an acceptable way? So as an answer to that question, do you think they were recruited in an acceptable way?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we can go to question 4. Question 4 is, were the controls selected in an acceptable way? I think in this paper, the controls and the cases were selected in the same way, but had different defining exclusion and inclusion criteria. But overall, it was the same. Is that right? I mean, since both cases and controls are driven from the same hospital, the same geographical location, and we used a clearly defined inclusion criteria for both the controls and the cases. So, do you think the answer to this question would be yes also? Hello everyone, can you hear me? Maybe I've lost connection.
Yeah, I think so the case control study is like a two groups of a study that compares two groups of people, right? The
Yes.
group with the disease or condition under the study, like a case, and a very similar group of people like who do not have the disease or condition. Those are the control, right? So
Yes.
here I think the cases are lung cancer and the controls are COPD, right? The people who do not have the disease. So I think, yeah, that's the same thing. We'll going to your another question is also here. We are going to see the relationship between the COPD to cancer, right? Lung cancer. So I think the answer is yes.
Yes, thank you, Sumi. I also agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
We can go through the hints quickly and see what is applicable for this study. The first hint is, were the controls representative of the defined population geographically and or temporally? So both the cases and controls were selected in the same setting, which is the same hospital. throughout the same time period in 4 years, from 2014 to 2018. So I think that is representative of the defined population, since they also mentioned that the hospital serves about 450,000 inhabitants of that in that area. Do you agree, Khalid?
Yes, Khalid. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, great. Another hint is, was there something special about the controls? I think this is also not applicable here. Was the non-response high? Could non-respondents be different? Sorry, in any way. So, did they mention non-response or non-respondents in this study, or maybe people cases or controls that were lost through the study?
They didn't mention anything specific about this, but they mentioned that they recruited 95% of people have lung cancer in their geographical area.
Yes. Okay. I think this is in some way also questions if there is an attrition bias. So another hint is, are they matched, population-based, or randomly selected? I think there was a mentioning, if you can see the results section in the abstract, there was a mentioning of the differences between the controls and the cases, gender differences or age or any other difference. Can you go through that?
Sorry, Khalid, what was the question? Did they match or not the group? Something like that. I was not able to get the question.
Yes. The question was, are they matched, population-based, or randomly selected?
They are matched, and they mention here they are comparing the baseline characteristics and it's here.
I think I've seen a mentioning of that in the results section, but in the abstract, not in the manuscript. In the abstract.
I think they mentioned clearly that there is no differences were observed in the distribution by sex, age, BMI, smoking, and occupational exposure. I think this eliminates some of the maybe confounders in this situation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Also in the result section, they mentioned that the both of the groups are very homogeneous with no relevant differences between the groups, also in terms of baseline treatment. So basically, and there are no patients undertaking any growth factor. So that means they are very homogeneous and no relevant differences between groups. That means they paired. It is mentioned in the results section.
Yes, I think it's clearly stated also. So the answer to if control selected in acceptable way would be yes here. So we can go to question number 5 in the fourth page. The fifth question is, was the exposure accurately measured to minimize bias? So what do you think, Khalid?
I don't think I'm not sure. To my understanding, I don't think this is applicable here.
I think maybe
because we are looking for specific biomarkers. Or if anyone want to
Yes.
to comment on this, go ahead.
Yes, I think that's correct because there was no intervention, so there was no difference in exposure between two different groups, and the fact that they are from the same, I don't know, maybe geographic area, so the baseline features are similar, and there is no difference in distribution of certain risk factors like smoking and other points. So I guess this somehow eliminates such thing. Like nothing else to comment on, I guess.
yes, if this case control study, we are studying the association between exposure and disease, exposure being COPD and disease being lung cancer. Then when we read the question again, was the exposure accurately measured to minimize bias? Maybe it's meant that if we accurately diagnosed COPD or not. I'm not sure if I got it wrong, maybe.
Can I add something?
Yes, of course.
Actually, I think the exposure here is the inflammatory marker, and the disease is lung cancer or not. So we need to link the risk factor and the disease. So we need to compare lung cancer and no lung cancer, and high inflammatory markers and normal inflammatory or normal inflammatory markers. I think that's what's meant by exposure, not the risk factors and so on. Am I correct?
I also agree with you here that
so in that case, it would be measured accurately. I don't know how was it measured, the inflammatory markers and what lab tests were used, but I think it was measured accurately.
Yes, thank you, Ali, for your opinion on this. I also agree that what is meant by exposure here is, since in a case control study you are studying the relationship between exposure and disease, and exposure here might refer to, as you said, the inflammatory markers. So it makes sense since this is a critical appraisal tool for only case control studies. So it might be applicable here, and the answer would be yes, but I don't know the lab specifics of how they measure the markers. Does anyone else have an opinion on this?
Well, yes, I agree with Ali's point. I think the purpose of the study is to measure the inflammatory markers, whether they're present or not, and I think there is no bias in that. That's what I think.
Okay, great. Thank you also for sharing your opinion on this.
I just would like to add one point. I guess what Ali mentioned makes sense, and in that perspective, I think the question here should be addressed in a way where, like, people who had, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'm just brainstorming here. So if the inflammatory markers were, I would say, since they excluded people who had heart failure and specific infections and tumors, that excludes, I don't know if this is about bias or not. So if that the bias is what they were about, just to say that the inflammatory markers actually measures the association between the two things, in that case, putting an exclusion criteria like, for example, inflammation, heart failure, which might increase the inflammatory markers, would make it valid. But I'm not sure if this is the point that they're discussing here or not. So just something to consider.
Okay, thank you, Marwa, also for your opinion on this. Maybe now we can go through the hint and we can learn something. Okay.
Before that, so I just want to add excuse me, that questions are generic questions, so you can modify the question according to the article. If you go down, it may ask also some questions about the treatment versus not treatment, something like that. So in this case, it will not be applied. So I think the format of the question can be modified to match the article we are addressing. And I agree with Ali. Here, the idea is to compare the two groups according to something that we can say yes or no. And the sample here is a lab sample. They check it, and if it's positive or negative, they're pro-inflammatory. And it's the lab test, so there is no bias from the investigator. Like I can say, yeah, include this or that or something like that. There is no chance for me to play with the machine. I just put the sample in the machine and it will give me the result either or. So the chance of the bias here is almost completely removed. But I agree with the other comment that also they looked at the inflammatory markers in other condition like heart failure or other condition where this might be increased because of something else. Because we are comparing cancer present or not present in patient with COPD, we don't want to add some co-founded like other conditions that also can play with inflammatory markers. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for clarifying this, Dr. Nader. Some questions here might not be applicable to the paper we are currently reviewing. And maybe we can walk through the hints and see if it might provide help or not. Well, the first hint is to answer this question, which was the exposure being accurately measured to minimize bias or not. So the first hint is, was the exposure clearly defined and accurately measured? I think Khalid already answered this question. That the exposure being here, whether it's inflammatory markers or COPD, for COPD, they clearly defined how they recruited the cases, and also for inflammatory markers, they defined all the tests they did, and we don't have a doubt that they were not accurately measured. The second hint is, did the authors use subjective or objective measurements? I think this might be applicable here, Khalid.
Yes, they use the lab test to measure. Yeah, so it is.
So it's objective measurement. The third hint is, do the measure truly reflect what they are supposed to measure? So have they been validated?
Yes.
Yes. So I think it's already established how to diagnose a case of COPD, and it's already established how to diagnose a case of lung cancer and also to look for the inflammatory markers.
So if I may add also, so the hints, you can use them as helping tools. So if the question is, did they do this or not? And the answer is yes or no. If you can answer the question right away from the article, then you don't have to use all the hints. So if we all agree that the question number 5, the answer is yes, then I don't think we need to go over the hints by details, like each hint, and see if it's applicable or not, and then answers the hints. Because the idea here, the exercise is to answer the question in blue. If you can answer it yes or no, then it will help you go to the next question. If the people who are discussing this are divided, or if the answer is not clear, some say yes, some say no, some say it's not, we don't know, I can't tell. Then you go over the tips to clarify or help you identify. It's like cues to find the answer, or at least to help guide the whole group into one answer, yes or no answer. So if the question is answered from the beginning by the audience, is this yes? And all of them say yes, and no one say no, or I don't know. Then I don't think we should go into the orange list of hints. If the question is kind of not clear, or the answer is not agreeable on, or it's not clear, then we can use the hints to help us answer the question. Does that make sense, Khalid and Khalid? And the other?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nader.
Yes, I think it's a really great way to do these critical appraisals. Okay, I think it's really better to do it as you said. So I'll go through the questions, and I will answer, or Khalid will answer, and then I will answer if I'm certain, and then you can all feel free to disagree at any time, or if you have anything that you did not understand about the question, we can go through the hints and maybe reach somewhere. So I think we have already answered question number 5. The exposure was accurately measured to minimize bias. So we can go to question number 6, which is, aside from the experimental intervention, were the groups treated equally? So Khalid, do you think the question is applicable or not? Or
yes,
you have an
the answer to this question, yes, they mentioned this in the result. They distributed like there's no differences were observed in the distribution of sex, age, BMI, smoking, or occupational exposure, lung function, gold, and so on. So I think they are equally treated.
Yes. Okay, thank you for clarifying this. For me, I'm not exactly sure about answering this question. If anyone has an idea, please feel free to share. If not, then we will agree, and we will move to the next question, which is 6B. Actually, I'm sorry, we have to go through A and B and then decide whether the answer is yes, cancel, or no. So for A, Khalid already said they were treated equally. For B, Khalid, have the authors taken account of the potential confounding factors in the design and or in their analysis?
Yes, in the design, yes, they have strict inclusion and exclusion criteria. They excluded anyone have congestive heart failure, ischemic heart disease, acute infection, and also they equally distributed their participants.
I think we lost your voice. Can you hear us, Ali?
Yes, I hear you. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. As you've said, sorry, this is my connection. My connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So as you said, this is where the confounding factors were accounted for, as you've mentioned. I think it's a clear yes for this question. We can move now to section B, which discusses the results. Yeah. So question number 7. How large was the treatment effect? And if the question is not clear, I can go through the hint. It is
the question is not applicable, right? This is not a treatment, Sam.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can skip. Yeah, you can skip the
Yeah,
question.
we can skip it because it's not applicable.
And the next question also, I think.
Yes, question number 8. How precise was the estimate? Yes, exactly. Both of these questions can answer for this paper. Question number 9 sounds a bit subjective. Do you believe the results? So maybe I can walk through the hints here. The first one is big effect is hard to ignore. So if we see a relationship or association between disease exposure that is pretty much significant, it is really hard to ignore that. So the answer would be yes. Uh, can it be due to chance, bias, or compounding? I think the hints here are things to consider before answering these questions. So also the third one is, are the design and methods of this study sufficiently flawed to make the results unreliable? The fourth one is consider Bradford-Hill's criteria, which is time, sequence, does response gradient, strength, biological plausibility. So I think maybe here we can use all these hints to answer this question. But as a general answer, Khalid, do you believe the results of this study?
Yes. From the statistics in the result in the manuscript, I think, yeah, I believe I read it and I believe the result.
Yes. Okay. So this is the final section, section C. The 10th question here is,
before just going to that part regarding the results, this is something that I noticed regarding in the abstract, the results here, when you say odd ratio of 1, there would be there would be no difference. So I think this is like an error, typing error in this part, because I went down and the results were actually the numbers were actually different. So,
yes. Yeah. Thank you, Marwa. Yeah, I read this and we spoke about it, me and Khalid also. But when you go down to the result, you will find it. It is very significant, 4 point something. The
yeah, definitely. So if you say odd ratio of 1, this means like there is no difference between the two groups, which is not the case actually in this study. But as I said, it's probably a typing error.
That's a very great observation from you, Marwa, because yeah, after we've been through the paper, Khalid noticed this earlier, and we think that it's a typing error. Actually, the odds ratio is not 1 here; it's 4 point something.
4.9.
Yeah, exactly.
As in this area I highlighted.
Yeah. So it's just an error. I also didn't know that paper submitted in and having access through NCBI can have an error like this, but it's been really helpful. So the 10th question is, can the results be applied to the local population? Khalid, do you think this question is applicable, or if yes, what do you think the answer is?
I think yes, applicable to the local population, because they recruited 95% of patients with lung cancer from their area.
So they almost did a total coverage. So yeah, I think that is a clear yes. So the 11th and final question is, do the results of this study fit with other available evidence? I think to answer this, we should go through other papers. Or did I get the question wrong?
Honestly, I don't know the answer for this question.
I think to answer this, we should go through other papers. Does anyone have an opinion on this?
I think with this situation, this needs someone who is expert in the field of COPD and lung cancer, or at least to go back to the literature and search about the specific, if there is a specific study, maybe on a larger scale, that measured the same outcomes and had maybe accordingly if the results are similar or not.
Yes, exactly. I think so also. Thank you. So this is the final question. Thank you very much, Khalid, for going through the paper and answering the questions. And thank you all for your participation. I think it's a very helpful exercise if we do it weekly or every other meeting or so.
Thank you, Khalid, and thank you, Sumi, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Both Khalid, yeah, it was very helpful. I feel that it will help us to understand the research paper and abstract very well and the results and methods. I think this is a very good practice. One more thing I want to update. Khalid Osman, I realized that you will be the presenter for the fall abstract, right?
Yes.
Okay, so is that okay that I think for my project, the one like cardiovascular and COVID, as like, you know, we are supposed to split into all of the fellows. So is that okay that like, you know, RUA can participate in that project because you already have one, right?
Yes, yeah, I have no problem in that. I have also no problem if someone wants to present the falls abstract instead of me, and I'll present maybe in the cardiovascular abstract. I have no problem with that. You think it's okay if we discuss this maybe after the meeting, so we make sure that everyone gets the chance to participate and no one
Yeah,
is
yeah. I just want to make sure that all of us agree, and then, you know, like each of us can participate to, you know, like I want to split with each of us equally. So, you know, it will be fair to all of us, something like that, as Dr. Nadir mentioned as well. So, you know, all right, we'll discuss about that. Anything else?
Yes, I have a question, if I may, Sumi.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, since Dr. Nadir already requested the names of the presenters, Dr. Nadir, can we change the presenter or is it just too late?
I asked the department, that's a good question, and I had a list of some of you. So I submitted that list to the department, and I think they registered you, if I'm not mistaken. You can double check that. So the person who are involved, like I think 9 of you in the 4 abstracts, you can change between you if you want, if your name is listed in 2 places. For me, it doesn't matter which one you want to present or participate. For anyone else who are not from the 9 people in the list, then let me know if you want to participate and present. I'll see what we can do. And as I said, if this chance is already taken by some and the rest wants to participate and present, then we have more chances. We have the student resident at MSU conference that will be in, I think, May. And we have other meetings that also we can participate in, and you can lead, and if you want to start a project or get involved in a different project, then we can talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Khalid, can you stop the share the screen so that we can see all the...
yeah, okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sorry, I have just one question to ask. I couldn't find the raise hand put on here. So I just would like to know, like, the names, these are the people, I think, from what I understand now, who will be present in the question and answer session, because the registration for the conference is needed if you were going to be present at that specific time. Am I right or wrong? Because I don't think, like, for example, if someone is going to just participate in uploading the video, it's not necessary that their names are registered in the conference itself. So I don't know the conclusion regarding this part.
I'm not sure. From what I understood, I think the first part is if all of your names are in the abstract that's accepted. So each one has a chance to either present the video or talk about it, or present at the conference when there is a question and answer. The registration part, I think it's for you to submit your abstract, the video. I might be wrong. This is what I understood. Maybe we can look at the website again and clarify that by next week and see how we can solve problem if there is any.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say something. I do recall I have read, let me open the camera first. Yeah, I do recall I have read this when they send the email. They mentioned that for some reason that the main presenter is not able to be available, then anyone who's mentioned, the co-authors. So based on that point, I really think that anyone who's registered as a co-author, they have the ability to present. So yeah, that's based on what I've read. Yeah.
Definitely, I agree with you in that point. But the thing is, like, if you're going to be a presenter, your name have to be registered for the conference itself. This is like just, yeah, this is just
I think yeah, I think okay, so I'm gonna just explain things. In the past, before COVID, you register and you go to the conference and then you present while you have the actual poster. So you have to pay the registration for that part and you go and everything. During this COVID, I think they changed it. So it's only virtual, right? You have the video and you can attend on the day or the time when the question and answer. From my understanding, I think to be able to submit the video, I think you have to be one of these names co-authors, and you have to be registered so that they can send you the link to upload and follow as an active participant for that part. I think I might be wrong again. For the next part where the actual conference will occur, if you want to attend the whole conference, you can register and attend all the lectures and meetings, whatever. But if you want to participate only in the question and answer section, then you need just to have the link to get into like the Zoom meeting like us now. And you can be as one of the 2 or 4 or whatever members in that session about that poster. And you just be ready if, let's say, Marwa, Mulham, and Khalid are there, they will be ready for that poster. If someone came and wants to ask a question, then one of you will answer that question. If 2 people wants to ask the same different questions at the same time, then 2 of you will handle the 2 persons who are asking these questions at the same time. I think that might be, so for that, I think you need to be logged in with your link, same like link for Zoom meeting now. I might be wrong again. We can clarify that. But the idea is 1 or 2 person or maybe 3, they can do the video similar the way the students did or Marwa and Lubaba did for AMDA. You record the video and upload the video, and mostly one of you will upload that with their name. So that person, I think, is supposed to be registered. I might be wrong, but so at least we need 4 people to upload 4 posters if that's required. For the second part, the question and answer in May, when it's gonna be live for I think 2 hours, then we need also some of the team to be available. Let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, whoever you decide will be for the first poster, second poster, third. These people will be available. You log in similar to what we are doing now, and you stay during that time. If people are asking questions, then you can divide the questions between you guys who are present for that poster and answer the question according to how many questions you have. And that's done. If that's clear, whether or not the registration will be needed in the 2 parts, I'm not sure. That's what I think is needed for the first part. But maybe it will be needed for the second part. Anyways, let me know if you have other question, and I'll try to clarify that as well.
Thank you, Dr. Nadir. I want to add one more thing. What I understood from the IGS, poster, their site also, I think the person who will record the presentation, at least that person has to be there in the question and answer session. That's their requirement. And anybody else also can. So what my another question is, as for AGS, we have 4 abstract accepted. So I think it's a good idea. The person, like 4 different people for the 4 abstract, because it can be a conflict of the time. Let's say their presentation, all the poster session is like from 7 to 9. So I don't know, my, it's the 2 hours virtual time or live session. So it probably conflict my project to Mulham project to, the case presentation versus fall. So it's better to 4 different person for the 4 different project. So by that way, any of us can be available for that session. So that's, it's better now that, that's why I raised that things let's say Khalid will be presenting fall, that abstract. So if he is also involved in my question, COVID and cardiovascular, so probably it is the same time. So he has to, at that time, last moment, he has to basically pick one and then go there. Because he cannot be present for the both session or something like that, both posters. So it's better, I think, pick 4 different people for 4 different abstract and go from there. It will be easier for us to manage, and all of us also have some experience with the things, if you all can agree with that.
I completely agree with you, Sumi. I think if we can have each poster reader or leader for the project have 3 with them, then that would be easy to handle, and everyone will focus on their part and will be ready for the presentation at that time. If for any reason the first person is not available, we have still backup second, third, as Mulham mentioned. If we have 4 people available, that would be great. If 1 or 2 cannot make it for any reason, still we have 2 ready to participate. But as Sumi mentioned, I think it's only 1 period, so you cannot be in 2 different places at the same time. I assume it will be a link, Zoom, like what we are doing now, but it will be divided into rooms. So the 4 people for the first abstract will be assigned to 1 room for that part of their abstract. So it's better to be in 1 team assigned to 1 abstract instead of jumping from 1 part to another. Thank you.
Yeah, Yeah, because for ASCO this time, like I have two abstract, which was back to back, like 8 to 8:30 and 8:30 to 9. So what happened for the first abstract, I finished by like 8:40 or something, because it's not exactly 8:30, and I'm late for my next abstract presentation actually. So I don't want, like, that's why I'm raising that topic. I think then my other co-author has to start that abstract, and I finally joined at the end. So that's why I'm raising this topic. It can happen. So as we have lots of members, I think we should all split like that way. This is a real experience. That's why I want to share that things. It can happen to all of us, because we have 4 abstracts, so it may conflict the time, and it can maybe a one after another or something like that.
So if I may ask, so Sumi, I know you have one abstract about the cardiovascular with the COVID, right? And you have identified your team. If you can make sure you have 3 beside you in that team, that would be great. And then the next abstract, I think Mulham and Khalid, or who, if Mulham, you are the leader, then also make sure you have 3 by tomorrow. Confirm with them that they are in your team. And then the third, is it false? I think the abstract. I'm not sure who will be leading that. Is it Khalid?
Yes.
Osman. So Khalid, if you can identify another 3 with you, or 2 from the other leftover in the fellowship, then you can just confirm with them. And then the last part is the case. I think Marwa and some other person, I'm not sure. Anyways, if you can identify also 2 or 3, then the team will be there. I know some people might not in the meeting now, and some people might not be able to participate at all because of other reasons. Then I think we should focus in each team have certain people for that project, and then start working, assigning the leader, as Sumi did, should assign the task for all these other members in the team to work on that and make a deadline. Let's say in 2 weeks, we need to make the poster ready. And 1 week after that, we want to practice, rehearse the presentation. And the week after, we will make the presentation final and see if there's any feedback or something. So by whatever day so we're supposed to submit, we will be ready for that. Is it April 7 or 5th or something? So before April 1st, I think we should be at least in the phase where we already know who will be presenting, and we have some couple of rehearsals, and we are waiting for the feedback. So when we get the feedback, we will be ready by the first week to submit that video. And when it comes to May, then each team, they know their assignment or their time when they will be ready for the Q&A section. Hopefully we'll just submit their link, and they will log in similar to what we are doing now into a Zoom meeting for that abstract, and then the rest of the teams for their own abstracts. If that's clear for you guys, if not, let me know.
Yeah, that's clear. If any of you, any of the team lead or wants, I can send how did I split, how did I split the roles and responsibilities and deadline. I can CC to all of you, so you guys have an idea how to manage and lead this project like that way. So I also sent the poster link and template versions, so as so people have their own idea, and their roles and responsibilities are split. So people have time ahead of time. So, like by that way, it will be organized and very clear to all of us. So I can send that, I can CC that email to all of us. Probably that would be helpful. Anybody has any other questions about anything? Otherwise, we are about to finish our meeting today.
I just would like to take a few seconds just to answer Ali's prior question regarding how to change, if I may share my screen, how to change the color of the, if you have a specific graph or table. So I added here this bar chart. So if you have this already, and so from design, you go to design, and then you go to format background, and then here, if you click on this, you will see the options for the shape here. So you see you can change the color from here. For example, just a second. You see it as green here, so you can, for example, choose this color. So, and the other, you can put it the same color or a different color accordingly. So this is one way to change the color in a graph or in a chart. Thank you.
Thank you, Marwa, for your explanation. All right. Anybody else for anything?
Yeah, thank you so much. It was very fruitful. I apologize. I was in and out on call. I just want to recognize Mulham's help for me last week. He did an exceptional job of helping me preparing. I'm sorry I didn't get the time earlier to mention that. I got a lot of messages on my phone, so I had to cut the speak short. But he's been very helpful. I really appreciate your help, and I'm gonna just encourage anybody else in the team to reach out for you, because I utilized all the points that you mentioned with me. It was 10 minutes interview with 2 faculties, but I was able to recall all of the advices and points that you helped me with. So I really want to appreciate you, your help, and thank you so much.
I'm glad that I was able to help. Thank you.
So if no additional information or comments, maybe we should think about next week. I know it will be busy for you guys for the match. What do you want to do so that we can have an agenda? If you want to take a break, that's also option. Any suggestions? I think, Mulham, I don't want to put you on the spot, but last time you mentioned you will have a refreshing point about the shop. If people will need that, I'm not sure if you will be able or available to do that. And if people want that or want to have that point raised again, just to make sure you are ready, guys, for in case you need plan B for that. We can use that as well.
Yeah, I'll be very glad to do that. I'll try to make it even more organized this time than the last time, and to add more points. And I'll try to search the programs in internal medicine. I'll see all the programs which are usually in the SOAP every year. So I'll try to make it everything in one file, and hopefully it will be very helpful to everyone, inshallah.
So if you want to search the internal medicine program, if you have a methodology of searching, maybe you can share that with someone who is interested in family medicine from the group. I'm not sure if anyone can volunteer to do the same steps as Mulham will do. Let's say Mulham will say, I want to build a list of internal medicine who accept whatever. So he has a criteria for internal medicine. If some of you can volunteer to do the same for family medicine program, so we have the same list compared between internal medicine and family medicine for the group next time. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, I'll be sending it to the group in the WhatsApp. mentioning that what I'm doing and the file itself, because there's one file that I'm using, it covers the last 10 years or 15 years and shows that there is a recurrence of consecutive programs which are known to be in the SOAP. So yeah, I'll be sending it today.
Sounds good. So if anyone have time to volunteer or help, and if they are interested in family medicine, maybe that would be a great idea. Okay. Anything else as far as next week meeting? I think, thank you, Khalid. You added yourself as a leader for next meeting. And we have Lubaba for the meeting after. If you have, the rest of you have a chance to look at the next future meeting, if you can add your name so that you can be a leader for some of these future meeting, that would be great. Sumi, I think she, are you available?
Yes.
Okay. You did a great job, by the way. Do you have any additional information or feedback or anything about leading the Zoom meeting?
No, I think, yeah, I think it's a great way of learning how to lead a meeting through virtually, because I did not do it previously, although I did it probably at work, but different way. So this is a way of learning as well, how to communicate with the people virtually, because this is a new norm for all of us due to COVID. And because most of the meetings are in virtual now. So I would suggest that everybody should take that opportunity. And also I learn, I think, like, I little bit worked throughout the week, like how to organize the agenda and who will do for what and what not. So which also helpful for organize that. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Sumi added, if you go to the meetings in the app, coming Zoom meeting, what she did during the last meeting, she went into the Zoom meeting and added herself. You go to the pen here and add yourself. But in the meantime, as she mentioned, she added the agenda items, who will be talking and who will be presenting what, so that by the time we have next meeting, she has the agenda ready for her. And for next meeting, Khalid, you can do the same. You go there, add the edit, and then we said Mulham will present SOAP tips or list or something like that, whatever we agreed on. And then what if we have any other items for the agenda, you save it, and for next time you will have the agenda for the meeting and so forth. So
Okay.
This might be just helpful to organize stuff for you guys for next coming meetings.
Also, throughout the week, like whatever the email communication, like Dr. Nadir mentioned that he wants to discuss something about the family medicine project for so I added that. And I think Khalid also sent the link of the paper for the critical appraisal part. So I I updated that link in the in the app also. So if anyone missed through the WhatsApp, because WhatsApp message is like, we receive so much message throughout the day nowadays. Everybody have like tons and tons of messages. So you can always go back to the app and get that link and get that link for the papers and all that. So also like I updated all the message, all the emails things, like whoever wants to do what, and what are the homeworks for the SPSS, something like that. So I think it will be helpful for like the person who will be leading and also the other fellows. So they will have an idea that what are the work they are assigned to all of us. And then we have idea that what is going to happen for the next week. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any questions, any comments, any suggestions before we end the meeting? Roa, you want to ask a question? Okay, so you can finish it.
Hi, everyone. Rua, do you have any question?
No, thank you, Somi. It was by mistake. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So I think we are all set for the next week. As Mulham will discuss about the SOAP, and we all will do our own part. And thank you so much. Everybody has a good evening, good night. And I wish you all the best for the upcoming match. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Great job, Somi.
You too.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.